The big human warship moved through space like a dark shadow against the stars. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, watching the screen that showed their path ahead. The ship was called USS Liberty, and it carried 2,400 people inside its metal walls. Jake looked at his crew working at their stations. None of them knew they were about to break the most important law in the galaxy. The three big alien races had made one rule that everyone followed: stay away from the Vega star system. No questions asked. How far to the border? Jake asked his navigator. Lieutenant Claire Adams checked her computer. 50,000 kilometers to the Forbidden Zone, Captain. All the alien warning signals are active. Jake nodded slowly. He had read all the reports about this place. The bug people called Zephyrians said it was dangerous. The crystal beings called Vortons said it was cursed. The gas creatures called Nethys said it held ancient evil. All three races agreed on one thing: no one goes to Vega. But humans were different. They asked questions. They wanted to know why. "Sir, we are getting warning messages," said Communications Officer Troy Mason. His fingers moved over his controls. "Same message in many languages. Turn back or we'll destroy you." Dr. Lisa Carter looked up from her science station. She was thin with short brown hair and smart eyes. "Captain, the energy readings from this area are strange. There's something worth studying in there. Or something worth hiding," added Tactical Commander Ryan Brooks. The big man kept his hands near his weapon controls. Why would three different alien races all want to keep everyone out of the same place? Jake had been thinking the same thing. Humans had only joined the galaxy community 5 years ago. They were still learning the rules. But some rules seemed stupid. "Captain," Claire said, "we will cross the border in 10 seconds. Everyone on the bridge got quiet. They all knew what this meant. Earth had signed the peace treaty. They had promised to stay out of forbidden areas. But Admiral Kate Sullivan had given Jake his orders herself. Explore, learn, push limits, cross the line. Jake said. The USS Liberty slipped past the invisible border like a knife cutting paper. Right away, alarms started making noise from the communication station. "Sir," Troy called out, 30 alien ships are scanning us." They were waiting. On the main screen, ships started appearing. The Zephyrian ships looked like giant metal bugs. The Vorton ships were made of glowing crystal. The Nethys ships floated inside bubbles of gas. All of them had weapons pointed at the lone human ship. "They knew we would come," Ryan said. Of course they did. Jake sat back in his captain's chair. "We have been asking too many questions about this place. They knew humans would come here eventually." Dr. Carter's computer started showing new information. "Captain, I am finding at least 7 planets in this system. The third planet has old buildings on it. Very old buildings." "How old?" Jake asked. "Older than any of the current alien civilizations. Maybe older than all of them together." Troy's voice cut through their talk. "Sir, we are getting a message. It is from all 3 alien fleets at the same time. Put on screen." The main screen split into 3 parts. On the left was a Zephyrian commander with angry insect eyes. In the middle was a Vorton leader, made of blue crystal with warning lights. On the right was a Nethys floating in its special suit. The Zephyrian spoke first. Its voice sounded like grinding metal. "Human ship, you have broken sacred law. Leave now." The Crystal Vorton's voice sounded like ringing bells. "This area is forbidden to all life. You risk more than just your own people with this action." The Nethys spoke in whispers. "Ancient sleepers rest here. Do not wake what should stay sleeping." Jake stood up slowly. He was not very tall, but something about the way he stood made him seem bigger. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earth Space Force. We come in peace. We want to learn. We will not hurt you or your people." "Hurt?" The Zephyrian's mouth parts clicked together. "You understand nothing, human. This place is sealed for good reason." "Then tell us the reason," Jake said calmly. "We will listen." The 3 aliens looked at each other across the communication link. Finally, the Vorton spoke. "Some knowledge is too dangerous. Some places are too deadly. Leave now while you still can." I cannot do that, Jake replied. My people sent me here to explore. That is what I will do. Dr. Carter stepped forward. We found old ruins on the third planet, buildings that are older than your civilizations. Do you not want to know what is there? We know what is there, the Nethys whispered. We know and we guard against it. Ryan moved to stand beside his captain. With respect, if this area is so dangerous, why have you not told the galaxy about it? Why keep it secret? The Zephyrian's eyes got narrow. Because knowledge of this place spreads like sickness. The more who know, the more who come. The more who come, the greater the danger. Jake looked at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting for his choice. These people had followed him across the galaxy. They trusted him to make the right decision. We will be careful, he said finally. We will study the ruins and leave. 1 week, then we go home. The 3 alien commanders all spoke at once. Impossible. Forbidden. You will wake them. Wake who? Dr. Carter asked. But the message ended. The alien ships began moving into attack positions around the USS Liberty, like wolves around a deer. Sir, Ryan said, they are charging their weapons. Jake studied the tactical display. 96 alien ships against 1 human ship. The odds were bad. But the Liberty was built for war. Her armor was thick, her weapons were strong, and her crew was human. Red alert, Jake ordered. All people to battle stations. Raise shields and arm weapons. Captain, Troy called out, Admiral Sullivan wants to talk to us right away. Tell her we will call back later. We are busy. Jake smiled grimly. Lisa, point all scanners at that third planet. Ryan, defensive positions only. We are not here to start a war. Yet, Ryan said quietly, the USS Liberty moved deeper into the Vega system with alien ships following like angry bees. None of them knew that their presence had already started waking something that had been sleeping for 10,000 years. Deep in the gas giant's swirling clouds, ancient machines began to turn on. The real danger was not the alien fleets around them. The real danger was what they had all come here to guard against. And now, because humans were curious, it was starting to wake up. Admiral Kate Sullivan sat in her office on Earth's space station, reading reports that gave her a headache. 3 different alien ambassadors had called her in 1 hour. All of them were angry. All of them wanted the same thing. Get Captain Morrison out of the Vega system right now. The first message came from Ambassador Zix, who spoke for the bug people. The insect being appeared on Kate's screen, waving its 4 arms in anger. Admiral Sullivan, your warship has done something very bad against all civilized species. The human ship must leave right now, or face the combined power of our fleets. Kate rubbed her head. The Zephyrians were usually reasonable. They traded with humans and shared technology. They even sent students to Earth schools. But now they sounded ready for war. The second message came from Crystal Lord Thane of the Vorten Empire. His body was made of living blue crystal that glowed with inner light. When he was calm, the light was soft. Now it blazed like a star. Admiral Sullivan, your species shows the dangerous curiosity of children playing with fire. The Vega system is forbidden for reasons your people cannot understand. Remove your ship, or we will remove it for you. The Vorten had been humanity's first alien contact. They had taught humans how to build better engines and how to talk across the galaxy. Kate had thought of them as friends. Not anymore. The third message was the worst. It came from gas speaker Melos of the Nethys Collective. The alien floated in its special suit, a cloud of thinking gas that spoke in whispers. Admiral Sullivan, your ship has awakened something that should stay sleeping. Even now, our sensors detect movement in the deep places of Vega. Your captain may have doomed us all. Kate turned off the messages and opened a direct line to the USS Liberty. Captain Morrison's face appeared on her screen. Behind him, she could see the busy bridge of his warship. Jake, what is your status? We are fine, Admiral, surrounded by alien ships, but they have not fired yet. Dr. Carter's team has found something interesting on the third planet. Jake, I have got 3 alien species threatening war over your little trip. They want you out of there right now. Morrison's face was calm. With respect, Admiral, they do not give orders to human ships. We are here to explore and learn. That is what we are doing. The aliens say you are in danger. They are scared, Jake. I have never seen them this scared. Scared of what? We have run every scan possible. The system is clean. 7 planets, 2 asteroid belts, 1 gas giant, and a lot of empty space. Kate frowned. What about the ruins Dr. Carter found? Ancient buildings. Interesting, but harmless. We are not even digging yet. Just taking pictures. On the Liberty's bridge, Dr. Carter looked up from her science station. Her face was excited. Admiral, these ruins are incredible. The building style is unlike anything in our databases. The construction methods are so advanced we can barely understand them. How old? Kate asked. Conservative guess? 50,000 years. Possibly older. Kate felt cold. The galaxy's oldest known civilization was the Nethys Collective, and they were only 20,000 years old. What had built these ruins? Captain Morrison, she said formally, I am ordering you to finish your survey and leave within 24 hours. Admiral, with respect, we need more time. These ruins could change galactic history. Jake! Kate's voice was hard. That is an order. Morrison nodded. Understood, Admiral. We will finish our work and head home. The communication ended, but Kate did not feel better. She opened a new channel to the alien ambassadors, hoping to calm things down. Ambassador Zix appeared first. The Zephyrian's many eyes reflected her image dozens of times. Admiral, is your ship leaving? Captain Morrison has orders to finish his survey and leave within 24 hours. 24 hours? Zix's voice rose to a screech. Every moment your ship stays increases the danger. You must leave now. Crystal Lord Thane's image joined the conversation. His crystal body pulsed with angry red light. Admiral, your people do not understand the forces they are disturbing. The ruins your scientist studies are not empty buildings. They are warnings, markers, seals. Seals on what? Kate asked. Gas speaker Melos appeared in the conversation. The cloud being spoke in urgent whispers. On things that hunger for intelligent life. On things that eat entire civilizations. On things we have kept sleeping for 10,000 years. Kate felt her blood turn cold. Are you talking about weapons? Some kind of ancient war machine. Not machines, Thane said. Living things. Hungry things. They sleep in the deep places of gas giants, waiting for the call to feed. What call? Kate demanded. The call of exploring minds, Melos whispered. The mental resonance of curious intelligence. The very presence of your scientists studying our ancient warnings may wake them. Ambassador Zix clicked her mouth parts. This is why the zone is forbidden. This is why we patrol the borders. To keep the curious away from things better left sleeping. Kate stood up from her desk. If this threat is real, why did you not tell us? Humans are part of the galactic agreement now. We should know about dangers like this. Because knowing leads to curiosity, Thane explained. Curiosity leads to exploration. Exploration leads to awakening. We learned this lesson long ago. Admiral, some knowledge is too dangerous to share. Admiral Sullivan, Zix said urgently, our fleet commanders report energy signatures from Vega's gas giant. Deep signatures. Ancient signatures. Something is stirring. Kate opened an emergency channel to the Liberty. Jake, get out of there now. On Morrison's bridge, alarms were starting to sound. Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner looked up from his sensor station, his face pale. Captain, I am reading massive energy buildup from a gas giant. Something big is moving inside those clouds. Dr. Carter's voice was excited. The ruins are responding to the energy signatures. Symbols are lighting up on the walls. It is like the whole site is coming alive. Jake. Kate's voice came through the speakers. The aliens are telling the truth. You have woken something up. Morrison looked at the tactical display. The alien ships around his vessel were no longer in attack formation. They were forming a defensive circle, all weapons aimed at the gas giant. Admiral, he said slowly, I think we have a problem. Ryan Brooks called out from his tactical station. Captain, multiple contacts emerging from the gas giant's atmosphere. Large contacts. They're moving toward us. On the main screen, dark shapes began coming out of the swirling clouds of Vega's largest planet. They move with purpose, with hunger, with intelligence. My God, Dr. Carter whispered, reading her sensors. They are not ships. They are alive. Biological vessels with crews inside them. How many? Morrison asked. Turner checked his readings. 15 confirmed, sir. More emerging every minute. The alien fleet commanders were all talking at once over the communication channel, their voices mixing into chaos. The sleepers wake. 10,000 years of vigilance for nothing. Humanity has doomed us all. Jake Morrison looked at the approaching bioships and made a decision that would change everything. All ships, this is Captain Morrison. Whatever is coming out of that gas giant, we face it together. Prepare for battle. The ancient enemy that had consumed 67 civilizations was awake. And it was hungry. Dr. Lisa Carter knelt beside the ancient wall, her scanner making soft beeping sounds as it recorded the glowing symbols. Professor Sam Rodriguez crouched next to her, drawing the markings in his notebook with shaking hands. Around them, the ruins of Vegas 7 stretched into the darkness, lit only by the strange light coming from the awakening writings. These symbols are changing, Lisa said, her voice filled with wonder and worry. They are responding to something. Field researcher Amy Johnson looked up from her translation computer. She was young, just out of school, but she was very good with old languages. Dr. Carter, I think I have figured out part of this text. It is written in 12 different languages, but they all say the same thing. What does it say? Sam asked. Amy's voice shook, warning to all who think and dream. Here lie the hunger that walks between stars. Here rest the devourers of worlds. Do not wake them. Do not call to them. Do not let them know you exist. Lisa felt cold, and it was not because of the planet's chilly air. Devourers of worlds? That sounds like the name of a species. Keep reading, Sam urged. Amy scrolled through her translation. The next part is hard to translate, but it talks about how these devourers ate entire civilizations. They fed on intelligence, on consciousness itself. The more advanced the species was, the more they wanted to eat them. Above them in orbit, communications officer Troy Mason's voice came through their radios. Away team, we are reading massive energy signatures from the gas giant. Something is coming out of there. Lisa looked up at the alien ships surrounding the Liberty. Even from the planet's surface, she could see their weapons were no longer aimed at the human ship. They were all pointed at Vega's largest planet. Amy, what else does it say? How were the devourers stopped? Amy's fingers moved quickly over her translation computer. It says they were not stopped. They were contained. The text mentions something called the Great Alliance. Dozens of species worked together to build a prison. What kind of prison? Sam asked. The gas giant itself. They trapped the devourers inside Vega's atmosphere and put them to sleep. Then they built these ruins as warnings and watching stations. Lisa's scanner beeped urgently. The symbols are getting brighter. It is like the whole site is waking up. Through her radio, she heard Captain Morrison's voice from the Liberty. Dr. Carter, we need you back on the ship. Now. Captain, we are just starting to understand what this place is. These ruins are not just old buildings. They are warning beacons. The whole planet is one giant alarm system. Alarm system for what? Amy looked up from her translation, her face pale. For when the devourers wake up, the ruins are designed to send a warning to every species in the galaxy when the prison fails. Professor Rodriguez pointed to a large symbol on the wall. It was pulsing with red light, faster and faster. If this is an alarm system, then what is that? Amy checked her computer. That symbol means, oh no, it means awakening in progress. On the Liberty, Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner's voice cut through the communications. Captain, we have multiple large contacts emerging from the gas giant. Count is now 1520, they just keep coming. Lisa stood up, forgetting her equipment. We need to get back to the ship. Now! As the research team ran toward their shuttle, Amy grabbed Lisa's arm. Doctor, there is something else. The final part of the warning. It talks about how to fight them. How? It says the Devourers adapt to any energy weapon used against them. Plasma, laser, particle beams. They learn to absorb them and grow stronger. But the text mentions crude kinetic force and primitive chemical explosions as being effective. Lisa stopped running. Kinetic weapons? You mean like bullets and missiles? And nuclear weapons. The ancient text specifically mentions splitting the atom as something the Devourers cannot adapt to. Professor Rodriguez caught up with them, breathing hard. That is impossible. Nuclear weapons are primitive compared to modern energy weapons. Every space-traveling civilization gives them up once they develop plasma technology. Every civilization except humans, Lisa realized. We still use kinetic weapons and nuclear missiles on our ships. They reached the shuttle and lifted off, racing toward the Liberty in orbit. Through the windows, they could see dark shapes coming out of the gas giant's swirling clouds. The shapes were huge, looking like living tissue, with surfaces that seemed to move and flow like skin. How many species knew about this? Lisa asked Amy. According to the text, every major civilization in the galaxy. They have been taking turns guarding this prison for 10,000 years. Then why did they not tell us? Sam demanded. Amy looked at her translation one more time. Because the Devourers are drawn to curious minds. The more a species knows about them, the stronger the attraction becomes. The aliens have been trying to protect us by keeping us ignorant. The shuttle docked with the Liberty just as Captain Morrison's voice echoed through the ship. All hands, battle stations. Unknown hostiles approaching from the gas giant. On the bridge, Dr. Carter rushed to her science station while Professor Rodriguez and Amy Johnson found emergency seats. The main screen showed a horrible sight. Dozens of living ships coming out of Vega's atmosphere, each one the size of a city. Captain, Ryan Brooks called from Tactical. The alien fleets are forming up around us. They are not trying to attack us anymore. They are trying to protect us. Protect us from what? Morrison asked. Lisa looked at her readings and felt her blood turn cold. From things that eat civilizations, Captain. From creatures that have been sleeping for 10,000 years, dreaming of their next meal. Communications Officer Troy Mason's voice was tight with fear. Sir, I am intercepting alien communications. They are calling for reinforcements from across the galaxy. Every species, every fleet they can find. Why? How bad is this? Amy Johnson spoke up from her emergency seat. According to the ancient records, the last time the Devourers were awake, they ate 67 space-traveling civilizations before they were stopped. Captain Morrison looked at the approaching bioships on his screen. Each one pulsed with hungry life, reaching out with sensors toward the thinking minds on the human ship. And we woke them up by being curious, he said grimly. Not just curious, Captain, Lisa corrected. Human curious. We think differently than other species. We ask questions they're afraid to ask. We explore places they're afraid to go. To the Devourers, we probably taste like the finest wine. The first Devourer ship reached scanner range, and the Liberty's computers began analyzing what it was made of. The results made everyone on the bridge go quiet. The ship was not made of metal or crystal or any known material. It was alive, grown rather than built, with weapons that were body parts and armor that was living tissue. And inside it, sensors detected thousands of consciousness-hungry entities, all focused on one thing, feeding on the intelligent life that had awakened them. Sir, Turner reported, the bio ship is scanning us. It knows we are here. Morrison looked at his crew. Red alert. All weapons ready. If we are going to be the galaxy's appetizer, let us at least give them indigestion. The war for the galaxy was about to begin. And humanity was about to discover that sometimes being primitive was exactly what the situation called for. The first Devourer ship broke through Vega's atmospheric layer, like a nightmare coming out of a bad dream. Captain Jake Morrison watched it on the main screen, trying to understand what he was seeing. The thing was massive, easily 5 kilometers long, with a hull that moved like living skin. Living weapons grew from its surface, turned to track the human ship. Captain, Dr. Carter called from her science station. I am reading massive bioelectric activity from that ship. It is not just alive, it is thinking. Marine Colonel Ben right stood behind the captain's chair, his scarred face serious. Sir, request permission to send Marines to the surface. If there are more of those things down there, we need to secure the ruins. Morrison nodded. Take your people down, Colonel. Set up a defense around Dr. Carter's dig site. If those ruins are some kind of control system, I do not want the enemy getting to them. Navigation Officer Claire Adams looked up from her console, her face pale. Captain, I am tracking 47 more bioships coming out of the gas giant, and that is just the first wave. The Devourer's ship on the screen suddenly pulsed with dark energy. When the energy faded, its hull had changed color, adapting to the local starlight to make itself harder to see. They are already learning, Tactical Commander Ryan Brooks said quietly, adapting to our scanning frequencies. Around the Liberty, the alien fleets were moving into defensive positions. The insect-like Zephyrian ships formed a tight group, their energy weapons charging. The crystal Vorton ships began to glow with inner light, preparing their plasma cannons. The gas-dwelling Nethys ships put up energy shields, creating a protective wall. Sir, Communications Officer Troy Mason called out, we are getting a message from the alien fleet commanders. They want to coordinate our defense. Put them through. The main screen split into 3 sections. Hive Queen Zix appeared on the left, her insect features tense with worry. Crystal Lord Thane appeared in the center, his blue crystal body pulsing with urgent light. Gas Speaker Melos floated on the right, a cloud of thinking gas in a special suit. Human Captain, Zix spoke first, you have awakened an ancient evil. Our combined fleets must work together if we hope to survive. Thane's crystal voice rang like bells. The Devourers have been sleeping for 10,000 years. They will be hungry, they will be angry, and they will remember us. Remember you? Morrison asked. Melos whispered from his gas cloud. We are the descendants of those who imprisoned them. Our ancestors fought the Great War against the Devourers. Many species died to build their prison. On the surface of Vega 7, Colonel Wright's Marines were setting up defensive positions around the ancient ruins. The glowing symbols on the walls were getting brighter, pulsing faster, as if counting down to something terrible. Colonel, Dr. Carter's voice came through the comm. The ruins are responding to Devourer presence. I think they are some kind of monitoring system. Can you shut them down? Wright asked, checking his rifle. I do not think so. But Professor Rodriguez thinks the symbols might be telling us something important. Amy Johnson was studying the ancient text with her translation device. Colonel, the markings are changing. New symbols are appearing. What do they say? Amy's voice was shaky. They are tactical information. Battle plans from the ancient war. Instructions on how to fight the Devourers. Back on the Liberty, the first Devourer ship was getting closer to the combined fleet. It moved with liquid grace, its living hull rippling like water. As it came closer, sensors detected something that made everyone's blood run cold. Captain, Dr. Carter reported, I am reading life signs inside that ship, thousands of them, but they are not crew members. They are stored intelligences, captured minds from eaten civilizations. Morrison felt sick. You mean they keep their victims alive? Not alive. Conscious. They harvest intelligence and store it for feeding. The ship itself is powered by consumed thoughts and dreams. The Zephyrian fleet fired first, sending streams of plasma energy toward the Devourer's ship. The bio-ship's hull absorbed the energy, glowing brighter as it fed on the power. Within seconds, its living weapons began firing back. Plasma bolts identical to the Zephyrian weapons. It learned to copy their weapons, Ryan said in horror. The Vorton ships attacked next, firing particle beams that could slice through asteroid belts. Again, the Devourer absorbed the energy and immediately began firing particle beams back at them. Every energy weapon they use against it, Dr. Carter realized, it learns to use against them. Gas Speaker Melos's voice came through the comm. This is how they ate 67 civilizations. They adapt to every energy weapon, every advanced technology. They turn our strength against us. More devourer ships were coming out of the gas giant. The alien fleets were falling back, their energy weapons useless against enemies that could adapt to anything they fired. "Captain," Ryan Brooks said seriously, "we need to do something. The alien ships are getting slaughtered." Morrison looked at his tactical display. The Liberty was the only ship in the fleet that carried kinetic weapons, railguns that fired solid metal slugs at incredible speed. Every other ship used energy weapons that the Devourers could adapt to. "Ryan, target the lead Devourer ship with our main railgun. Let us see how they adapt to a tungsten slug traveling at 30% light speed." The Liberty's railgun charged with a deep humming sound. On the surface of Vega 7, the ancient symbols pulsed brighter, as if responding to the human ship's primitive weapons. Amy Johnson looked up from her translation. "Colonel Wright, the ruins are showing new text. It is about kinetic weapons. It says the Devourers cannot adapt to crude matter hurled with great force. Bullets and missiles?" Wright asked. "And nuclear weapons. The ancient civilizations that fought them used primitive kinetic bombardment as their main weapon. On the Liberty, the railgun fired. The tungsten slug crossed space in milliseconds, hitting the Devourer's ship with the force of a small asteroid. The bio-ship's hull broke open, spilling living matter into space. The ship tried to adapt, its surface shifting and changing, but it could not learn to defend against solid matter moving at such incredible speed. It began to drift, badly damaged. "It worked," Ryan breathed. The other Devourer ships turned toward the Liberty, their living sensors focusing on the human ship. They had found something that could hurt them, something that needed immediate attention. "Sir," Troy reported, "we are being targeted by every Devourer ship in the area. They have identified us as the primary threat." Morrison smiled grimly. "Good. Let them come. Ryan, arm all kinetic weapons. Nuclear missiles, railguns, everything we've got." "Captain," Zix's voice came through the comm, "your primitive weapons are effective against them. How is this possible?" "Because we never stopped using primitive weapons," Morrison replied. "While you advanced energy weapons, we kept our railguns and nukes. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways." Crystallord Thane's voice rang with something like admiration. "Your species still fights with metal and explosives. How wonderfully crude." "And effective," Melos whispered. "The ancient records mention this. The first species to fight the Devourers successfully were the most primitive ones, those who had not yet developed energy weapons." 15 Devourer ships were now moving toward the Liberty, their hulls shifting and adapting, preparing for war. In the ruins below, ancient symbols blazed with light, recording the first successful hit against the Devourers in 10,000 years. The humans had awakened an ancient evil, but they might also be the key to stopping it. Sometimes being behind everyone else in technology was exactly what the galaxy needed. 15 Devourer ships surrounded the combined fleet like hungry wolves around sheep. Captain Jake Morrison watched them on the tactical display, each bio ship pulsing with alien intelligence and terrible hunger. The alien ships that had been threatening humans just hours ago were now huddled around the Liberty like scared children. "Captain," Tactical Commander Ryan Brooks reported, "the Devourer ships are changing their hulls. They are growing thicker armor where our railgun hit them. Can they adapt to kinetic weapons?" Dr. Carter looked up from her science station. "Not the same way they adapt to energy. They can build thicker armor, but they cannot change the laws of physics. A fast-moving piece of metal will always punch through living tissue." Chief Engineer Danny Price's voice came through the comm from the engine room. "Captain, I have been thinking about our weapons. The aliens use clean, efficient energy weapons. We still use explosives and metal bullets. Maybe that is not a weakness." "What do you mean?" "Energy weapons are predictable. They follow specific patterns and frequencies. But kinetic weapons? They are chaotic, random, hard to predict or adapt to." Hive Queen Zix's insect face appeared on the communication screen. Behind her, Morrison could see Zephyrian crew members working frantically at damaged stations. "Human Captain, our energy weapons are useless against these creatures. They absorb our plasma and fire it back at us." Crystallord Thane appeared next to her image, His blue crystal body was cracked in several places, leaking glowing fluid. Our particle beams have been turned against us. The Devourers learn faster than we can adapt our tactics. Gas speaker Melos joined conversation, his cloud form flickering with distress. 3 of our ships have already been consumed. The crews are still alive inside those creatures, powering their weapons with their thoughts. Morrison felt sick thinking about it. How do we free them? You cannot, Melos whispered. Once consumed, the consciousness becomes part of the Devourer collective. Their knowledge, their skills, their memories, all of it feeds a hunger. Sir, Communications Officer Troy Mason called out, more bio ships coming out of gas giant. Count is now 67 and rising. The Devourer ships began their attack. They moved with liquid grace, their living hulls shifting and flowing as they got closer. Energy weapons grew from their surfaces, copies of every weapon the aliens had fired at them. The Zephyrian ships fired first, their plasma cannons lighting up space with blue fire. The Devourers absorbed the energy and fired it back twice as strong. 2 insect ships exploded in balls of superheated gas. The Vorton crystal ships tried a different approach, firing particle beams at maximum spread to scatter the damage. The Devourers adapted instantly, their hulls becoming reflective, bouncing the beams back at their attackers. They are slaughtering them, Ryan said grimly. Morrison made a decision that would change the course of the battle. Open a channel to all ship commanders. The screen filled with alien faces, insect features, crystal structures, and gas clouds. All of them looked desperate. This is Captain Morrison of the USS Liberty. I am taking tactical command of this engagement. Zix's mouth parts clicked in protest. Human, you have no authority over our fleets. I have the only weapons at work, Morrison replied calmly. Your energy weapons are useless. My kinetic weapons can hurt them. You can follow my orders or watch your crews get eaten. Crystal Lord Thane pulsed with angry light. What makes you think primitive human tactics can defeat an enemy that ate 67 civilizations? Because those civilizations all use advanced energy weapons, Morrison answered. We never did. Ryan, fire all railguns at the nearest Devourer ship. The Liberty's multiple railgun batteries fired in sequence. Tungsten slugs traveling at 30% light speed slammed into the bio ship's hull. The living armor cracked and broke open, spilling the creature's life fluids into space. The Devourer ship tried to adapt, growing thicker armor, but the next salvo punched through anyway. Metal moving that fast could not be stopped by living tissue. How? Thane asked in amazement. Physics, Morrison explained. Energy can be absorbed, redirected, adapted to, but mass times velocity squared is still mass times velocity squared. You cannot adapt to being hit by a freight train. Chief Engineer Price's voice came through the comm. Captain, I am reading power fluctuations in the damaged Devourer's ship. Its bioelectric systems are failing. Weapons Officer Bell, target that ship with nuclear missiles. Lieutenant Monica Bell's fingers danced over her controls. Nuclear missiles armed and ready, sir. The alien commanders looked shocked. Zix spoke first. Nuclear weapons? But those are so primitive. Exactly. Morrison smiled grimly. Monica, fire. 6 nuclear missiles streaked across space toward the damaged Devourer's ship. The bio ship tried to stop them with energy weapons, but the missiles were simple, crude, and unstoppable. They exploded against the creature's hull in brilliant flashes of atomic fire. When the light faded, the Devourer's ship was gone, completely vaporized. The remaining Devourer ships turned toward the Liberty, their living sensors focusing on the human ship. They had learned something important. This ship was dangerous. They are all targeting us now, Ryan reported. Good. That means they are scared. Morrison turned to the alien commanders. Here is what we're going to do. Your ships will provide covering fire and distraction. Use your energy weapons to keep them busy while we hit them with kinetics. Our weapons only make them stronger, Melos protested. That is the point. While they are absorbing your energy and adapting to it, they cannot adapt to our metal slugs and nuclear fire. Hive Queen Zix considered this. You want us to be bait? I want us to be partners. We all fight together or we all die together. The alien commanders looked at each other across the communication link. Finally, Crystal Lord Thane spoke. Very well, human captain. We accept your tactical command. What are your orders? Morrison studied the tactical display. 67 Devourer ships were approaching in a classic attack formation. If you recall anything about living bio ships classic, all alien ships form up around the Liberty. When I give the word, hit them with everything you've got. Focus on the lead ships. Make them adapt to your weapons. And then, Zix asked, then we show them what happens when you bring bioevolution to a physics fight. Monica, arm all nuclear weapons. Danny, push the railguns to maximum power. The combined fleet moved into formation. For the first time in galactic history, human and alien ships were working together as equals. The Zephyrians with their plasma weapons, the Vorten with their particle beams, the Nethes with their energy shields, and humans with their crude, effective, unstoppable kinetic weapons. All ships, Morrison announced, this is it. Today we find out if the galaxy's oldest nightmare can adapt to good old-fashioned human stubbornness. The Devourer ships attacked as one, their living hulls rippling with hungry anticipation. They had consumed 67 civilizations with energy weapons, but they had never fought humans before, and humans had always preferred the direct approach. Sometimes the best way to solve a complex problem was to hit it with something very heavy, very fast, and very explosive. The battle began like a dance of death among the stars. 67 Devourer ships moved in perfect coordination, their living hulls pulsing with patterns that hurt to look at. The combined alien fleet opened fire first, filling space with streams of plasma and particle beams. Captain Jake Morrison watched from the Liberty's bridge as the Devourer ships absorbed every energy blast. Their hulls glowed brighter as they fed on the power, growing stronger with each hit. Now they will adapt, he told Tactical Commander Ryan Brooks. Wait for it. The bio ships began firing back, their living weapons copying every energy signature they had absorbed. Plasma cannons identical to Zephyrian designs grew from their hulls. Particle beams matching Vorten specifications sliced through space. The aliens were being attacked with their own weapons. Sir, Weapons Officer Monica Bell called out, the Devourer ships are growing new weapon systems. They're adapting faster than before. Dr. Carter looked up from her science station. That is because they are feeding on the alien crew's knowledge. Every ship they consume gives them more tactical information. Morrison nodded. The plan was working perfectly. Ryan, target the lead ship. All railguns, maximum power. The Liberty's railgun batteries charged with a deep humming sound. 6 tungsten slugs fired at the same time, crossing space at incredible speed. The lead Devourer ship tried to adapt, its hull shifting and getting thicker, but physics could not be negotiated with. The metal slugs punched through the bio ship like bullets through paper. Living fluid sprayed into space as the creature's internal systems broke apart. Direct hit, Ryan reported. The ship is badly damaged but still working. Monica, nuclear missiles. Full spread. 8 nuclear warheads streaked toward the wounded Devourer ship. The bio ship fired energy weapons at the incoming missiles, but the simple chemical rockets were too crude to be stopped by adaptive technology. The nuclear explosions lit up space like tiny suns. When the light faded, the lead Devourer ship was gone. Hive Queen Zix's voice came through the communications channel. Incredible. Your primitive weapons destroyed it completely. Not primitive, Morrison corrected. Direct. Energy weapons can be adapted to, absorbed, redirected. But a piece of metal moving at 30% light speed is just physics. You cannot negotiate with momentum. The remaining Devourer ships changed tactics. They began spreading out, trying to surround the combined fleet. Their hulls shifted color, becoming harder to target. They are learning, Crystal Lord Thane observed, adapting their formations to counter your kinetic weapons. Morrison smiled grimly. That is the beautiful thing about human technology. We adapt too. Chief Engineer Danny Price's voice came through the comm captain. I have been modifying our missile guidance systems. Instead of single large warheads, we can fire cluster munitions. dozens of smaller nuclear devices that spread out before impact. Do it. Marine pilot Steve Garcia launched from the Liberty's hangar bay, leading a squadron of human fighters. Unlike the sleek energy weapon craft used by the aliens, the human fighters were crude, angular things powered by chemical rockets and armed with depleted uranium rounds. Liberty Control, this is Ghost Squadron. Garcia's voice crackled over the comm. We are going in for close-range attack. The human fighters dove toward the Devourer ships like angry wasps. The bio ships tried to target them with adapted energy weapons, but the fighters were too small and too fast. Garcia's squadron opened fire with their primitive projectile weapons. Depleted uranium rounds tore through living hulls that could absorb plasma and particle beams. The Devourers tried to adapt, growing thicker armor, but the fighters just fired more bullets. This is impossible, gas speaker Melos whispered over the comm. Your weapon should not be more effective than our advanced systems. Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner looked up from his sensor station. Sir, I think I understand why our weapons work better. The Devourers are evolved creatures. They adapt to energy weapons because energy is something they can absorb and use. But kinetic weapons? They are just damage. Pure, simple damage. Dr. Carter nodded. It is like trying to adapt to being hit by a rock. You can build thicker skin, but the rock is still going to hurt. The battle was turning. Human kinetic weapons were devastating the Devourer ships, while their adaptive abilities were useless. But there were still over 60 bio ships left, and more were coming out of the gas giant. Captain, Troy Mason called from communications. We are getting data from the archaeological team on the surface. They have translated more of the ancient battle records. What do they say? Amy Johnson's voice came through the comm from the planet below. The ancient civilizations that fought the Devourers used a combination of primitive kinetic weapons and coordinated tactics. They would use energy weapons as bait, while kinetic weapons did the real damage. Just like we are doing, Morrison realized. There is more. The records mention something called cascade bombardment. They would target the Devourer ship's living control centers with nuclear weapons, causing chain reactions throughout the bio ships. Weapons Officer Bell looked up from her station. Captain, our sensors have identified what look like nerve clusters on each Devourer ship. They are like brains, controlling the ship's functions. Can you target them? With nuclear missiles? Yes, sir, but we will need to get close. Morrison made another decision that would define the battle. All alien ships, concentrate your fire on the nearest Devourer cluster. Make them adapt to everything you have got. The Zephyrian, Vorton, and Nethi ships opened fire as one. The targeted Devourer ships absorbed the energy greedily, their hulls glowing as they fed. Now, Morrison ordered, all fighters, close-range attack on those same ships. Hit them with kinetic weapons while they're distracted by the energy bombardment. Human fighters swarmed the bio ships, their chemical rockets and projectile weapons carving through living armor. The Devourers tried to adapt to both attacks at the same time, but their systems were overloaded. Nuclear bombardment, Morrison commanded. Target the nerve clusters. The Liberty's missiles streaked toward the confused Devourer ships. The nuclear warheads exploded inside the bio ship's control centers, causing exactly what Amy Johnson had predicted. Cascade reactions that spread throughout their living systems. 5 Devourer ships died in moments, their bioelectric networks overloading in brilliant displays of failing life. Crystal Lord Thane's voice carried a note of amazement. Your crude weapons are more effective than anything we have developed in thousands of years. How is this possible? Morrison watched another Devourer ship collapse under combined human kinetic bombardment. Because we never forgot that sometimes the best solution to a complex problem is a simple answer. You cannot outthink a bullet. The remaining Devourer ships began to retreat toward the gas giant, their living hulls scarred and damaged. But Morrison knew the battle was far from over. Sir, Dr. Carter reported, sensors are detecting massive movement inside the gas giant. Something much larger than the ships we have been fighting. How much larger? Continental size. I think we have been fighting the scout ships. The main force is still down there. Morrison looked at the tactical display. They had won the first engagement, but the real war was just beginning. And somewhere in that gas giant was something that made these bioships look like minnows compared to a whale. Intelligence Officer Rachel Green studied the data streaming across her screens, her face getting paler with each passing minute. The Devourer communication patterns she had been tracking for hours were finally making sense, and the picture they painted was terrifying. "Captain Morrison," she called out, "I have broken their communication code. The scout ships we have been fighting are not independent vessels. They are extensions of something much larger." Captain Jake Morrison turned from the tactical display, where he had been coordinating with the alien fleet commanders. "What kind of something?" "A hive mind, sir. All the bioships are connected to a central intelligence located deep in the gas giant's core. Every ship we have destroyed has made the central mind smarter." Dr. Carter looked up from her science station. "That explains why they adapt so quickly. They are not just individual creatures learning. They are sharing knowledge instantly across their entire network." Tactical Commander Ryan Brooks grimaced. "So every time we kill one, the others learn our tactics." "Worse than that," Rachel continued. "I am detecting massive bioconstruction activity inside the gas giant. The central mind is building new ships based on everything it has learned from our attacks." On the main screen, the surviving Devourer scout ships were retreating into the gas giant's swirling atmosphere. They moved with purpose, carrying intelligence about human weapons and tactics back to their source. "How many more ships can it build?" Morrison asked. Rachel checked her readings. Based on the biomass readings from the gas giant, potentially thousands, maybe tens of thousands. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Paul Henderson spoke up from his station. "Captain, there is something else. I have been analyzing the biosignatures from the destroyed Devourer ships. The central mind is not just controlling them. It is growing them from itself. Every ship is literally a piece of the main creature." Morrison felt the weight of realization settle on his shoulders. "We are not fighting a fleet. We are fighting one massive organism that can create ships like a human body creates white blood cells." Hive Queen Zix's insect face appeared on the communication screen. "Human Captain, our combined fleets cannot fight thousands of Devourer vessels. We must retreat and call for reinforcements from across the galaxy." Crystal Lord Thane appeared next to her image. "The Queen is correct. This battle cannot be won with conventional tactics." Gas speaker Melos joined conversation, his cloud form flickering with distress. The ancient records speak of similar situations. When the Devourers created hive minds, entire sectors of the galaxy were consumed before they could be stopped. Morrison stared at the gas giant on the main screen. Somewhere in those swirling clouds, millions of kilometers below the surface, an ancient evil was preparing to unleash hell upon the galaxy. "There is another option," he said quietly. "What option?" Zix demanded. Morrison turned to his crew. "We take the fight to the source. The Liberty makes a deep atmospheric dive into the gas giant and destroys the central mind." The bridge fell silent. Dr. Henderson was the first to speak. "Captain, the pressure at the gas giant's core would crush any known ship hull." "Any known alien ship hull," Morrison corrected. "But human ships are built different. We use physical armor plating, not energy shields. Our hulls are designed to take punishment." Chief Engineer Danny Price's voice came through the comm from engineering. "Captain, I have been running calculations. The Liberty's hull can withstand the pressure, but we will need to shut down all non-essential systems and reroute power to structural integrity." "What about the crew?" "We will need to use inertial dampeners at maximum power. Even then, the G-forces will be extreme." Dr. Henderson checked his medical readouts. "I can prepare stimulant injections for crew. It will not be pleasant, but we can survive the pressure changes." Intelligence Officer Green looked up from her station. "Sir, I am tracking the central mind's location. It is at the very core of the gas giant, surrounded by layers of bioships and living defense systems. How do we get through them?" "Nuclear bombardment. Weapons Officer Monica Bell suggested. Clear a path with atomic fire, then dive straight down." Morrison looked at his crew. These people had followed him across the galaxy, trusted him with their lives. Now he was asking them to dive into the heart of a gas giant to fight a creature older than human civilization. I will not order anyone to do this, he said. This is a volunteer mission. Anyone who wants to transfer to one of the alien ships can do so now. Not a single person moved from their station. Navigator Claire Adams spoke for all of them. With respect, sir, we are human. We do not run from fights we can win. Morrison smiled, feeling proud of his species and his crew. Danny, prepare the ship for deep atmospheric entry. Paul, distribute those stimulant injections. Monica, arm every nuclear weapon we have. Reactor specialist Nick Taylor's voice came from the engine room. Captain, I am pushing the quantum fold drives beyond safe parameters. We will have one chance at this. If the engines fail in the gas giant's core, we are not coming back up. Understood. Ryan, signal the alien fleet. Tell them to provide covering fire as we enter the atmosphere. Once we are inside, they are to retreat to minimum safe distance. Crystal Lord Thane's voice carried concern. Human Captain, this plan is suicide. No ship has ever survived passage to a gas giant's core. No alien ship, Morrison corrected. But then again, no alien ship carries nuclear weapons and a crew crazy enough to use them. The Liberty began its descent toward the gas giant. The ship's hull groaned as it entered the outer atmosphere, surrounded by swirling clouds of methane and ammonia. Behind them, the alien fleet provided covering fire, destroying devourer bioships that tried to stop the human vessel. Depth, 50,000 kilometers, Claire reported. Hull pressure increasing, but within acceptable limits. The ship dove deeper, past layers of floating living matter that tried to attach to the hull. Emergency lighting flickered as the pressure mounted. 100,000 kilometers, Claire continued. We are past the point of no return. Through the viewports, they could see bioships moving to the gas giant's atmosphere, like whales in an ocean. The creatures were massive, some larger than space stations, all of them connected to the central mine below. 200,000 kilometers. Hull stress approaching maximum tolerance. The Liberty shook as something huge brushed against its hull. On the sensors, they could see devourer creatures the size of cities drifting to the gas giant's middle layers. 300,000 kilometers. Sir, I am detecting the central mind. It is enormous. Morrison looked at the sensor readings and felt his breath catch. The thing at the gas giant's core was not just large. It was continental in size, a writhing mass of living intelligence that had been growing for thousands of years. All weapons. Target the central mind, he ordered. Full nuclear bombardment on my mark. The Liberty dove toward its target, human stubbornness carrying them into the depths where no sane species would dare to go. At the gas giant's core, something ancient and hungry was waiting for them. And for the first time in 10,000 years, it was about to face an enemy that did not fight fair. The USS Liberty descended to the final layer of the gas giant's atmosphere like a metal arrow aimed at the heart of an ancient evil. Captain Jake Morrison gripped his command chair as the ship shook under pressures that would have crushed any other vessel in the known galaxy. For 100,000 kilometers depth, Navigator Claire Adams reported through gritted teeth. The stimulant injections Dr. Henderson had given the crew were the only thing keeping them conscious under the extreme G-forces. On the main screen, the central mind of the Devourers filled their vision. It was a nightmare made real, a writhing mass of living intelligence the size of Earth's moon, covered in billions of nerve clusters that pulsed with glowing thought. Countless bioships grew from its surface like fruit on a tree, each one a weapon in its ancient arsenal. My God, Dr. Carter whispered. It has been growing down here for 10,000 years. No wonder it could create unlimited ships. Intelligence Officer Rachel Green's voice was strained. Sir, it knows we are here. I am reading massive bioelectric activity. It is trying to communicate with us. The ship's communication system suddenly filled with an alien presence. Not a voice, but pure thought pressed directly into their minds. The crew gasped as images flooded their consciousness. Galaxies consumed, civilizations devoured, endless hunger that could never be satisfied. The presence spoke without words, filling their minds with its ancient voice. We remember you. Your species burned bright when we last fed. Your thoughts were delicious. Morrison forced himself to speak through the psychic pressure. You have never met humans before. We are new to this galaxy. Not new, ancient. We tasted your ancestors' fears when your world was young. We have been waiting for you to reach the stars. Dr. Carter, realize the truth first. Captain, it has been influencing human evolution, pushing us to develop technology, to reach space. It has been cultivating us like livestock. The massive creature's thought voice carried amusement. Clever prey. Yes, we guided your species toward intelligence, toward the stars. Your curiosity, your aggression, your stubborn refusal to accept limits, all shaped by our subtle influence. You are our finest creation. Weapons Officer Monica Bell looked up from her console, her face pale but determined. All nuclear weapons armed and ready. Captain, we are close enough for a point-blank bombardment. The devourer mind pressed harder against their consciousness, trying to paralyze them with fear. You cannot destroy us. We are eternal. We are hunger itself. We will consume your thoughts and add them to our collection. Morrison felt the creature's mental pressure like a weight on his soul, but he had spent his life dealing with impossible situations, and this was just another problem that needed solving. Monica, he said calmly, fire everything we've got. The Liberty's entire nuclear arsenal launched at the same time. Dozens of atomic warheads streaked toward the creature's nerve clusters, each missile carrying enough destructive force to level a city. The devourer tried to stop them, spawning bioships from its surface to intercept the missiles. But human nuclear weapons were crude, simple, and unstoppable. The atomic fires bloomed across the creature's surface like deadly flowers. The psychic scream echoed through the ship. Impossible. We adapt. We overcome. We cannot be destroyed by primitive weapons. You can adapt to energy, Morrison replied, watching the nuclear fire spread across the creature's surface. But you cannot adapt to nuclear physics. Uranium does not care how evolved you are. Chief Engineer Danny Price's voice came from the engine room. Captain, the creature's bioelectric field is disrupting our systems. I am losing control of the engines. The massive organism was dying, its continental bulk convulsing as nuclear fires consumed its nerve centers. But even in death, it was dangerous. Pieces of its body broke away, floating in the gas giant's dense atmosphere like poisonous islands. Get us out of here, Morrison ordered. Emergency ascent maximum power. The Liberty clawed its way upward through the crushing atmosphere, its hull groaning under the strain. Behind them, the Devourer's death throes shook the entire gas giant. Reactor specialist Nick Taylor's strained voice echoed through the ship. Quantum fold drives at 110%. We cannot maintain this power level much longer. Just get us to the surface, Morrison replied. They broke through the gas giant's outer atmosphere, like a whale breaching the ocean's surface. Around them, the bioships that had been attacking the alien fleet suddenly went dark, their connection to the central mind severed forever. Hive Queen Zix's voice crackled through the communication system. Human vessel, what is your status? The Devourer's ships have all gone dead. Morrison slumped in his command chair, exhaustion finally catching up with him. Mission accomplished, Queen Zix. The central mind is destroyed. Crystal Lord Thane's image appeared on screen, his crystal form glowing with something that might have been amazement. You actually did it. You descended to the core of a gas giant and destroyed a creature that had existed for thousands of years. Gas Speaker Melos appeared next to the other alien leaders. The ancient enemy is finally dead. After 10,000 years, the Devourers are no more. Not just dead, Dr. Carter added, studying her sensor readings. When the central mind died, it sent out a psychic pulse. I am detecting similar death responses from Devourer installations throughout the galaxy. We did not just kill this one, we killed them all. 3 days later, Admiral Kate Sullivan arrived with a fleet of human ships. She found the Liberty undergoing repairs while surrounded by vessels from dozens of alien species. Word spread quickly through the galaxy. Humanity had destroyed the ancient enemy that had terrorized civilized space for thousands of years. Sullivan met with Captain Morrison in his quarters, where he was recovering from the injuries sustained during their dive into the gas giant. Jake, the Galactic Council wants to offer humanity full membership as an equal partner. No trial period, no restrictions. They are also offering to make you the first human member of the High Command. Morrison smiled weakly. What about the forbidden zones throughout the galaxy? Lifted. All of them. The aliens are inviting human exploration teams to investigate the ancient Devourer installations. Dr. Carter has been asked to establish a joint archaeological institute. And our primitive weapons? Sullivan laughed. 3 alien governments have requested to purchase human kinetic weapons and nuclear technology. Apparently, energy weapons are not always the best solution to a problem. Through Morrison's viewport, he could see human and alien ships working together, sharing technology and knowledge. The USS Liberty sat in the middle of it all, her scarred hull a testament to human determination. Dr. Carter entered the room, carrying a data pad filled with archaeological findings. Captain, we have translated the complete ancient records. The Devourers were not the galaxy's first threat. There have been others, and there will be more. The galaxy needs defenders who think differently, who are not limited by conventional wisdom. Morrison nodded. Defenders like humans. Exactly. Our stubborn refusal to accept that something is impossible makes us uniquely qualified to fight impossible threats. 6 months later, Captain Morrison stood on the bridge of the newest ship in the human fleet. The USS Pioneer, built with a combination of human and alien technology. His crew included not just humans, but Zephyrians, Vorton, and Nethys as well. Their mission, to explore the unknown regions of space, seeking out new threats before they could endanger the galaxy. As the Pioneer jumped to faster-than-light speed, Morrison reflected on how much had changed. Humanity had entered the galactic community as junior partners, barely tolerated by the established powers. Now they were leaders, their primitive approach to problem-solving recognized as exactly what the galaxy needed. Sometimes the best way to deal with an ancient, evolved, adaptable enemy was to hit it with a rock traveling very, very fast. The galaxy was safe, at least for now. And when the next impossible threat emerged from the dark between the stars, humanity would be ready. After all, humans had never been very good at accepting that something could not be done,